Back on the train, the city feels alive again. I'm finally back in Flatbush. Flatbush doesn't apologize for its presence. It fills the street with color, movement, and voices that feel rooted. The neighborhood tells an active story that is constantly retelling itself. But this grounded energy has deep roots, shaped over centuries of people and migration. Flatbush was originally purchased by the Dutch from the Canarsie tribe, seeing lots of development in the late 19th and 20th century. What was a Dutch farming town slowly transformed with the development of the Long Island Railroad and annexation of Flatbush into Brooklyn in 1894 and Greater New York City in 1898, respectively. From there, greater development began, seeing interest from developers and migration from Jewish, Italian, and Irish immigrants in the late 19th and early 20th century, continuing post-World War II. Simultaneously, the early 20th century saw a wave of voluntary Caribbean immigration into the U.S., with many in search of better opportunities. Many Caribbean immigrants moved to New York to work in areas facing labor shortages during World War II, helping the city grow economically in the 1940s and onward to what's now known as Little Caribbean. Little Caribbean is the world's first and only Little Caribbean worldwide and home to the largest and most diverse Caribbean diaspora community outside of the West Indies. Caribbean immigrants established vibrant communities in Flatbush, including businesses, bakeries, churches, and cultural spaces. Everyone in the diaspora is proudly represented and creating a better life for themselves and their families in the process. New York City winters get piercingly cold as the snow caps on top of the buildings freeze in place. At this moment, the city quiets down and time seems to lull, but Flatbush's small businesses are more active than ever. Warmth hits when you're surrounded by festive foods and faces straight from the islands. This all starts local. Any space you enter, you're greeted with smiles asking how you found your way to Little Caribbean, if you're from out of town, or what country you're repping. CaribBEING is no different, with the same warmth and curiosity greeting you as soon as you step inside. When the city slows, this space is where energy gathers instead. Jean-Luc Stanislas is creative director of CaribBEING and is part of a team focused on preserving Caribbean culture in Flatbush for generations to come.
I joined the organization Caribbean in 2010. I came from the French Caribbean island of Guadeloupe here, and I helped build the programming and the brand since then. When you just like start to inquire, you see that there was a lot of similarities in the Caribbean. And when I came to New York, I was like, oh, I don't have to take a boat or a plane. All of the Caribbean people out there. So that was first my interest. I was like, oh, I can speak to my people, learning about them and learning with them. Being in New York, especially in Little Caribbean, we've been highlighting the culture through conversations, movie screenings, art exhibitions, book readings, cultural presentation. Our first physical space was a shipping container that was on the courtyard of the late Flatbush Keaton Market, and they were blasting music outside, so you could tell that it was just like a Caribbean space. So that Caribbean holiday market came in that container because we were like, oh, we're showcasing the culture, but now that we're seeing the changes in the neighborhood, buildings are just like, popping up and high, something is probably going to disappear. We need to preserve that legacy. And helping the culture is one thing, but helping the businesses is also something else. So that's how the market started. It is a shop, a community space, an event space, a space who's probably now going to teach people a lot about their own self because of the legacy and history that Caribbean people carry. Christmas is a moment for people to just like get back into their own self or gather. Christmas is just like really family first. Even if you had a good year or bad year, it's a way to just like, you know, gather around and share what you have. And in the Caribbean space, just like you saw, we will welcome people with black cakes. Everything was free, punch of creamer. It's because this is the spirit of how we were raised, passing those on.
Andre Gunter is a Flatbush native, brand ambassador, and loyal customer of CaribBEING of 5 years.
From Maypen Clarendon, Jamaica originally. I migrated here when I was about 10 to East Flatbush. I live here in Little Caribbean. Here in Little Caribbean, Flatbush, it's the epicenter of, you know, Caribbean life in America, I think. It feels a little bit like the Caribbean. In this shop, just coming here, you're gonna feel it, even in the freezing cold of New York City winter. Here in Flatbush, it's such like a mix of all the Caribbean cultures, and it's just a beautiful thing. It's as I said, it's not just Jamaican, Haitians, Trinidadians, Belizeans, Hondurans, you know, Panama. Over here, it's just an overwhelming sense of like community. It's an overwhelming sense of you're living in like a very unique place with all of the cultures merge into this like one big little Caribbean area. So everybody's here. We're all just having a good time. I want to see Little Caribbean keep doing well. This neighborhood to do well, Brooklyn to do well, New York to do well, America to do well, the Earth to do well. You know what I mean? And just ensuring that whatever mission that Little Caribbean has, it keeps moving forward.
These streets carry decades of stories from Caribbean families who made Flatbush their home. Recipes, flavors, and smiles come from generations who brought the islands with them. The same warmth that greeted the first families here still fills these shops today. Little Caribbean is big on the map, and New York City is always the blueprint.